Are you getting my voice? Are you audible? Okay, independent process means that may not interact with other process. Just it should be an independent. It may not be shared any information or data to other process. It cannot be affected by the other process. Whereas coming to the category of cooperating process, as the name suggested, that cooperation between two processes means it is called as a one process wants to share the data or some information to the other process. This cooperating process affected by the process including sharing data. Various reasons for cooperating process. Why one process wants to cooperate with other process means information sharing, computational speed up, and modularity convenience. Means, for example, if you have some information that one process have to share the same information by other process, that is called as the information sharing. Computational speed up means you want to increase the computational speed up because some data values will be available at that particular process. Those data values are reused in this process. Modularity, you can divide the entire program into some modules. Then there is a communication between one process to the other process. The output of one module will be used as input to the some other module. That is the modularity. And convenience. While during the process communication, you have to provide a convenient manner. Always cooperative process need inter-process communication, IPC. There are three models of IPC. First one as shared memory, second one as message passing, third one as buffering. Means one process wants to communicate with the other process. You have three types of models provided by the operating system. First one as shared memory, second one as message passing, third one as buffering. We will discuss one by one in detail. Communication models. First one, process A, process B directly wants to communicate with the help of one message queue will be there. Message queue means similar to a ready queue. Ready queue will hold all the process which are arrived to that execution and waiting for execution. Here message queue will hold all by means of messages. A message, you know, everybody, header field and body field. Header will have some from whom to send, where to send, source address, destination address, message length and everything. Entire message queue will maintain M0, M1, M2, M3, so on, Mn number of messages and controlled by the kernel. Process A will send the message again. Process B also send the receive primitive, means response to that process B. This is called as a message passing. While using shared memory, process A and process B wants to share some common memory like pipe or file or some socket or your mails, emails. You have the inboxes or mailboxes. That concept you are called as the shared memory. Means similarly you have two friends in your class, they wants to communicate with each other. How it is possible? Otherwise one faculty and one student wants to communicate. in today's class scenario, you have a chat box that is called as message passing. Means while passing the messages, you have to provide the communication between two processes with the help of that message queue. That message queue holds n number of messages, M0, M1, M2, M3, so on, Mn. Means n number of messages are placed into that message queue by send and receive system calls or receive primitives, you are called as. By using that, you have to pass the messages. In case of shared memory, this shared memory is some memory area that is common to both the process A and B. That memory can be shared by the process A and process B. That is called as a shared memory. Means, for example, you have a room sharing is there. 4 members can share a single room. Means all 4 processes can access that resources available in that room. In the similar fashion, whatever the program code or some intermediate variables or some results, everything available in that particular shared memory, that can be shared by process A and process B. That is called as the shared memory. Buffering. Buffering means in between process A wants to share some data to the process B, then you have to use temporary buffer. That is called as the buffering concept. With these 3 models, you can achieve the inter-process communication, IPC. Or if you have to use thread concept, inter-thread communication, ITC. Both are same. IPC or ITC, inter-thread communications. Now, I want to discuss about independent process and a cooperating process. Independent process cannot affect or be affected by the execution of, cannot be affected by another process. For example, in your class, somebody is not at all communicated with any guy in the class. Means they should be independent. They want to share any information or any data to other persons, then you call it as independent person. In the similar fashion, you have to use the word independent process. Means that cannot be affected by the execution of another process. Means you are called as an isolated node. Only that process, that work process is created, that execution is completed, and termination is completed. That type of process called as independent process. Coming to the category of cooperating process, it can affect or be affected by the execution of another process. Means always this process wants to share the data, then automatically values will be changed, variables also change, memory locations, files, content, everything will be changed. The affected by the execution of some other process. The main advantages of process cooperation: information sharing, computational speed up, as I discussed in previous introduction part, modularity and convenience. Means main purpose as information sharing and computational speed up. With these 2 advantages, you have to provide IPC with the help of cooperating processes, not with the independent process. IPC can be achieved through only cooperating processes. Why? Because independent process, you are called as a competitive process. You are called as a competitive process. They may not be shared at all. They may not be mingled with any other process. They may not interact with other processes. That is called as an independent or competitive process. You are called as cooperative process. Means it will interact with the other process while through sharing. Sharing only is possible. We have various IPC problems are there. Those will be covered in the next chapters. Inter-process communication problems, IPC problems. Here, IPC can be achieved by using shared memory. Okay. An area of memory shared among the process that wish to communicate. Process A, process B. You want to share, the user wants to share, then automatically P1, P2 wants to share to communicate. The communication is under the control of user's process, not the operating system. P1 has user 1, P2 has user 2. P1, P2 wants to communicate. means user 1 and user 2 wants to communicate. Obviously, you have to process also communicate. Major issues providing this mechanism will allow the user process to synchronize their actions when they access the shared memory. Now, inter-process communication using first model as message passing. Mechanism for process to communicate and synchronize their actions. Message system will provide two system calls or two operations you are called as send message comma destination, receive message comma source. This is the two operations it will provide. Send primitive or send system call you have. Send some message to the process B. Process A wants to send message to the process B by means of some message. For example, two users want to chat. Otherwise, you want to chat with me. Hi, are you fine? Then that message will be sent by the send primitive. Send message to some name or 522 or 579. Likewise, I want to send the message. Receive message. Receive the message from the second process, means message comma source, means whether the destination will be received the message or not. Send message comma destination. Here receive primitive will be receive the message from source or not. That is called as a receive primitive. The message may be of either fixed size or variable size. Normally, the message size should be of 64 KB, for example, assume. Only 64 KB of header field and body field should be, both together should be of 64 KB. If it should be a variable, there is no limit at all. You have to type as much of information in the message and that message will be forwarded to the destination. Destination means second process. You have process P1 or P2 or process A or B. A is your source process, B is your destination process. A will send the message to B. B obviously receive and send an acknowledgement to the A. I am already received the particular message. This is regarding your message passing. Just you may type hi, how are you? Then you have the reply, fine. Now I am busy. Bye. That is the conversation. That is the process communication you are called as. In the chat box, you have the chat box in our hi, good morning to all. Then you also give the response. Then good morning, ma'am. That is the response given by the other process. Now message passing. If process P and Q wish to communicate, it needs a communication link is established between them. For example, if you want to join the Zoom class, you have to establish a link between your host and your participant. In the similar fashion, establishes a communication link between P and Q and then exchange the messages via send and receive primitives. Normally, how the links are established? The communication may be of two types here, direct communication or indirect communication. Okay. Those implementation issues, just listen. How are the links established? Can a link can be associated with more than two processes? How links can there be between every pair of communicating process? What is the capacity of a link? Is the size of a message that the link can accommodate fixed or variable size? Is a link is unidirectional or bidirectional? These issues are overcome in case of message passing. Implementation of communication link. Normally you have the physical link as well as logical link will be there. You have the physical link, either shared memory or hardware bus or network connections. Means you are using under the network connections, you have the through internet you have to establish the communication link. Hardware bus, all the three types of buses are available, already learned in CIVO you have. address bus, data bus, and control bus. Address bus will transfer from one process to other bus only if the address will be transferred. Data bus will transfer the data values. Control bus will send the acknowledgement signals or control signals. Shared memory. Same area will be shared by two processes. These are the physical links. For example, if you have logical link, either direct or indirect, synchronous or asynchronous, automatic or explicit buffering. Direct or indirect means you have directly communication between process P to Q, means there is no physical link will be established. Means you are at somewhere, Q is also at somewhere, both are linked together. That is called as the logically connected. Not there is a physical interaction will be there. There is a logical connection established between the two processes. That may be either direct or indirect. Direct means if you want to send the message, it will directly reach to the second process, that is a direct communication. Indirect means some mailboxes or some inbox will be there. Your process will be send the message to that mailbox. From that mailbox, the P2 will retrieve that message. That is the indirect. Synchronous, asynchronous. Both are of same type. You are called as synchronous. Means one is in blocking, other is non-blocking. Then you are called as synchronous or asynchronous. Automatic or explicit buffering. Automatic means once you type the messages, directly transferred one message after another message automatically. That is automatic. Or explicit buffering. It will stored in the buffer entire message. After P1 will send, that entire message will be dumped to the P2. That is called as explicit buffering. Direct communication. You have two types of communications. Process must name each other explicitly. P and Q are the two processes. They want to provide the direct communication. Then you have to use send and receive system calls or primitives or functions. You are called as send. Source process P, comma message. Send a message to process P. Whereas receive Q, comma message. Receive a message from process Q means it will receive the message from process Q, means again the message will be received. Properties of communication links. Normally links are established automatically. There is no pre-planning. A link is associated with exactly one pair of communicating processes. Means first two processes followed by remaining two more. One pair of communicating processes, there is a link. Between each pair there exists exactly one link. Means you have only one link. The link may be either unidirectional, but usually it is a bidirectional. That's why always a communication can be taken place by means of a bidirectional, not unidirectional, because I am sending hi, how are you? The Q process may not be give the response. Then the sender don't know whether it may be received or not. Again, it will continuously hi, how are you? That's why the sender sender will send a message through receive primitive or receive the message. That is called as the two-way communication or bidirectional communication. Always one-way communication is no use at all. In your online classes also, you have to follow the bidirectional or two-way communication. It's a useful communication. Otherwise, no use. Just I throw a ball to that wall. Again, that ball will come back to me. There is a unidirectional communication. Bidirectional means I send the message. The user also again send the response. Then there is a bidirectional communication or two-way communication, you are called as. Indirect communication. Already I said messages are directed and received from mailboxes, also referred as ports. Your port number. You have ports are there, 0 to 1024 are reserved ports, and remaining 65,535 ports are available in the computer environment. You have 0 to 1024 ports for all the predefined protocols, and remaining 10 24 to 0 to 1023 are the reserved ports, and 1024 to remaining all are our user defined ports. Each mailbox has a unique ID. Process can communicate only if they share a mailbox. Just you have a chat box will be there. In the similar fashion, you have Yahoo or Gmail or some messenger. You have the chat box or mailbox, or your call it as inbox. Normally, one process wants to communicate via the message. The messages are directly sent from the sender, but the receiver is unable to receive. Then there is an indirect communication link will be established through mailboxes or inboxes. Within that mailbox, the messages are stored. Excuse me. After that, the receiver will be in ready state. Then it will accept the messages from the mailbox, and then it will send the acknowledgement to the sender. That is called as the indirect communication. It will be established with the either mailboxes or inbox. Normally referred in computer point of view are called as a port. Those ports will exchange the information. Properties of communication link. Link is established only if processes share a common mailbox. A link may be associated with many processes. Each pair of processes may share several communication links. Links may be unidirectional or bidirectional. Indirect communication, the operations are, you have to create a new mailbox or port, send and receive messages through mailboxes, and then destroy a mailbox. Again, primitive same, send a comma message, send a message to mailbox A, receive a comma message, receive a message from mailbox A. Means the two processes are in indirect communication. Sender will send the message. Afterwards, the messages will be placed in the mailbox. From that mailbox, it will receive the message, and it will send the again acknowledgement. Indirect communication, mailbox sharing. P1, P2 and P3 share a mailbox A. P1 sends, P2 and P3 receive. Who got the message? Means which one will be the ready state? That mailbox will be ready to accept the message. That process may receive the message. Here synchronization. Between two processes, you have to provide synchronization, then only you have to possibility of message passing. Message passing may be of either blocking or non-blocking. Here, blocking is considered as synchronous. Non-blocking is considered as asynchronous. Here means P and Q are the two processes. Listen. Blocking sender means the sender is blocked until the message is received. Means the sender will continuously send the message until the message is received. Blocking receive, the receiver is blocked until a message is available. Means once the message is received by the receiver, then the receiver goes to the blocking state. Until wise, it will be wait until to receive the message. Next, non-blocking is considered as asynchronous. Means non-blocking sender. The sender sends a message and continue. And non-blocking receive. The receiver receives a valid message or null message. For example, you have sender and receiver. Sender means A is a sender process. Receiver means B is the receiver process. One should send the message until it receive. Until that, the sender will continuously send. Once it received, it will be stopped. The receiver is blocked until a message is available. And different combinations also possible. always one should be in blocking state, other should be in non-blocking, then only there is a possibility of communication is possible. If both sender and receiver are blocking, what to do? Rendizious state or some undetermined state. For example, I want to send a message to your mobile. Your mobile is not ready to accept that message. You are in switch off state. Then I don't know whether you have to receive the message. I continuously send the same message n number of times. That is called as the receiver is in blocking state. The sender don't know. It will in non-blocking state continuously the message will be forwarded. For example, both will be failed. Sender also failed, receiver also failed. Then you are called as the message may not be reached. Once the sender may be in sending state, it may be received to the mailbox. The messages will be in the mailbox, kept in the mailbox. After that, the receiver will be resume from the waiting state to the running state. It will be retrieve the messages from the mailboxes. These are the various different combinations possible. Blocking send, blocking receive, non-blocking send, non-blocking receive. Both are blocked, then there is no message transfer is possible. That is called as a rendizious state or non-determined state. And third concept as buffering. Buffer means a temporary storage area while transferring the messages from one process to the another process. Means queue of messages attached to that link. That implementation can be done in three ways. You have zero capacity buffer, bounded capacity buffer, and unbounded capacity buffer. Zero capacity, no messages are queued on a link. Sender must wait for receive. It means there is no enough space in the buffer. Directly it will send the message and wait until the receiver will receive the message. Bounded capacity, finite length of n messages. You have 50 messages have the storage capacity. That is the bounded. Means you know the length before you want to create the message queue. Means 50 messages or 100 messages. Means P1 will continuously send the 50 messages or 100 messages. That size should be of n. Finite 3, mute yourself. Finite 3. Bounded capacity means similar to your static allocation, the buffer size will be known to the user. Finite length of n messages. 50 messages you have. The sender will send the 50 messages to the receiver. First message, second message, one by one it will be transferred. Whenever 50 messages completely, 50 messages are filled, the sender must wait until if link is full. Now the receiver will be in running state. It will remove messages from the, retrieve the messages from the sender buffer. P minus M1, M2, M3, M4, M49, M50. Then the buffer will be empty. Now again the sender will send the continuously messages. Means that drawback of this bounded capacity buffer as, you know the size in advance, only that many number of messages can be accommodated in that bounded buffer. If you have to given more number of messages to that buffer, it can't be accommodated and the sender must be wait until it will be retrieved by the receiver, until it becomes empty. The buffer becomes empty. Whereas coming to the unbounded capacity buffer, infinite length, means there is no fixed size. Then the sender never waits. Always your Linux operating systems and Windows operating system will use unbounded capacity buffer. Why? Because the users or processes and directly communications, then they have to use unbounded capacity buffer. These are the three types of bufferings. One is zero capacity buffer, bounded capacity buffer, and unbounded capacity buffer. Examples of various IPC systems. In Windows, you have connection ports or communication ports. They have to use ports. Port means physical or logical connection between your client and the server. This is the client, this is the server, connection request, connection port, and that will be handled by the server. Client communication port and server communication port, and shared object also should be less than or equal to 256 bytes, then only sharing is possible. Communications in client server systems. You have to use either sockets or RPC, remote procedure calls. You know, everybody knows sockets. If you want to plug in your data cables, they're called as Reliance, that is called as a socket. Remote procedure calls, pipes, and remote method invocation. In Java, you have remote method invocation, means one method wants to communicate with another method, because all Java programs are handle methods. That's why you are called as remote method invocation. Normally in C and C++, you have procedures or functions. Then you have to call remote procedure calls, RPC. Here, RMI, remote method invocation. Either pipes, already I explained in basic concepts of pipe. One output of one process has given as input to the other process. A socket is defined as an endpoint for communication. We have IP address will be there. Already we are given in the lab 192.168.1.3. 3 is your server. Here the socket 161.25.19.8 colon 1625 referred as port number, 1625 on host. This is the computer. On that computer you have the port number as 1625. Already explained well-known ports 1024 used for only standard protocols and remaining for normal user ports. Here host X will be communicate through the your IDs, means through internet protocol address, IP addresses. Through IP addresses you have to communicate. These are the examples. Already explained ordinary pipe, parent and child communication. First of all, you want to write something data to the pipe, and then from that pipe you have to read the data till end of the pipe. Ordinary pipes are unidirectional, but some pipes are there named pipes and anonymous pipes. They have to use two-way communication. It establishes the relationship between parent and child relationship. Named pipes are the most popular than ordinary pipes. These pipes will provide bidirectional communication. All these named pipes are used in both Unix and Windows systems. These are the various models for IPC, inter-process communication. It's a very simple topic to remember and learn, because first of all starts from first slide. What do you mean by inter-process communication? One process wants to share information to the other process. Normally two types of processes. One is independent and cooperating. Independent you are called as competitive process. They may not share at all. Cooperative process can share the information. You have three models of IPC. One is shared memory, message passing, third one is buffering. with these three models, every method has its own advantages and disadvantages. Each type of operating system may follow either message passing or shared memory or buffering. Normally and widely used communication technique as either message passing. In some IPC problems, they have to use shared memory. They have to use shared memory. Always buffering will be handled by all the operating system, not a fixed size. Indefinite size buffer. That is a variable size buffer you are called as. Means so far we covered in process management how the processes are created by using fork system call, how execution is going on, how scheduling is going on, how process will be communicated from one other process, one to other process, then how process is terminated. For process termination, you have wait, suspend, and exit system calls are there in between. Likewise, process management of an operating system will deals with all the process operations like process creation, process execution. While execution, you have to follow scheduling or scheduling policies, like various scheduling algorithms are discovered, and you have to analyze various scheduling algorithms, which process will give the minimum and maximum waiting times are which gives the minimum. That is the analysis of process scheduling algorithms. Then you have one process wants to communicate with the other process, that is inter-process communication, IPC. These are the various types of process management techniques, and already you know types of processes also, independent process and a cooperative process. Cooperative process will have advantages of information sharing, computational speed up, modularity and convenience. These are the advantages by cooperating process. With this today's session, I completed the entire process communication. I will forward this PPTs to your group. Follow these slides. Do you have any doubts? I will clarify tomorrow. I will end up with this today's session. We'll meet you tomorrow.